All right, today we get a little impromptu video. I'm out here working in my 1931 Ford Model A town sedan, and I thought I would explain for all of you out in YouTube land how the controls of a Ford Model A work. For those of you who don't know, the Ford Model A was the first Ford car with modern controls as far as the way we know them today. However, there are some surprises and bonuses. So I'll walk you through those now. So starting with the steering wheel here, sorry, it's a little cramped in here. So this is your headlight control. So there's your headlights on, there are your high beams, that's off, and that's your cowl lights or your parking lights. The cowl lights are these little lights right there, much like parking lights of today. Behind your steering wheel, you've got two levers. This one actually controls the spark for your engine. So it goes up and down. And as you drive your car faster and faster, as your engine runs faster, you need to manually advance your spark. The spark needs to fire off faster as the engine runs faster. Modern cars do this electronically. However, in this, it's a manual control. So this is in the fully retarded position, meaning the slowest. And then as you go faster and faster, you're on it. And then down there, that's fully advanced. So about every 10 miles an hour, you have to adjust it. Depending how your car is timed and how it runs, some are more finicky than others. I tend to, as soon as it starts, I'll advance it about halfway. And then once I hit 45 or 50 miles an hour and start going faster, I'll run it all the way down. And then as I slow up to a stop, put it back to about halfway. And I never go lower than halfway whenever I'm driving. This over here is a hand throttle. So this is a holdover from the Model T where the throttle was on the steering wheel. Now, I do have a gas pedal down there. But these two are connected. So as I pull this down and up, if you watch, you can actually see the gas pedal go up and down. So those two are directly connected. There's my fancy 1931 air conditioning. Over here on the instrument cluster, you've got your ignition. Now this is a pop-out ignition, the way this works in a Model A. So you actually put your key in, turn it on, and then you can actually pull the key out. And then when you want to turn the car off, you just push it in. It'll pop out and push in. This is your gas gauge. This whole thing here is your gas tank. So this is your gas gauge, which is literally just floating inside the gas tank. Speedometer, odometer. I've got an aftermarket water temperature gauge. And then your electrical amp gauge. And then over here, this is, if you pull it out, it's your choke. If you turn this, it's adjusting your air and fuel mix, also known as the GAV, gas air valve. Now, going underneath here, much like a modern car, you've got your clutch on the left, brake on the right, your gas pedal. The little thing next to it all the way to the right is actually just a footrest. It doesn't do anything. Above here by the steering wheel, this is your starter switch. Got your shifter. Mine has a Borg-Warner electronic overdrive. So this is a 3-speed, non-synchronized manual transmission. I've got the Borg-Warner overdrive here. So that and this switch here both control that. Your emergency/parking brake. And then last but not least, this valve here is what turns your gas flow on from the gas tank. It's just gravity feed into the engine, and this turns your gas flow on or off. So now I'll walk you through the process to start your Model A. I'll explain it to you first, and then we'll do it in real time. So mine has a battery shut off. That's a modern safety feature I put on just for when it's parked in my garage, because there isn't much of a safety system on the electrical system. So if it shorts, it just shorts. I've put that in to be able to disconnect power completely when I'm parked in my garage. So first thing you do, you make sure you're in neutral. If you have this overdrive, you make sure this lever's out. Make sure you're in neutral. You will turn your gas valve on. You'll turn your key on, but that doesn't start the car. Then you'll pull the choke out, and at the same time, you'll press your starter switch down here. Now, you'll let the engine crank about 2 times, then you'll push the choke lever in. Once that's started, then you immediately grab your spark advance, which before you start, you have to make sure it's fully up in the fully retarded position, and pull it to about halfway for idle. On this car, that's all you have to do. Now, some cars, when it's cold, you may want to give it a little bit of gas. I don't have to do it here. Right now, it's a nice day, and this car runs really, really well. But some, you may have to give it a little throttle when you first start it until it warms up. All right, so we're going to go through the starting process here in real time. First thing we do, turn our gas valve on. Trust me, if you don't, you'll know within about 30 seconds, and every Model A owner has done this at least once in their lives. So turn that on. Make sure it's in neutral. Spark advance is fully in the up retarded position. Turn the key on. Now I'm going to put my foot over here, get it ready. I'm going to pull this out, let it crank twice, push that in, immediately advance this to about halfway. There you can see it's about halfway. And there we go. We're ready to go. Now if you want to, give it a little gas just to let it smooth out. And if you hear that squeak, I need a new fan belt. I know, I need to make a trip to O'Reilly one of these days. So there you go. We're ready to go. And you've successfully started your Model A. Now to turn it off, like I said, the pop-out ignition, you can actually remove the key. This was a feature so that people didn't forget their keys in their car, because this is one of the first cars with a key switch like that. So to turn it off, early push button ignition. There you go. And then make sure your gas valve is shut off. So there you go. You have learned the starting and stopping procedure for your Ford Model A.